Everyone looks forward to their retirement. The Coopers from Suffolk wanted to spend theirs in the sun. Instead, they've lost their life savings, and sadly, they're not alone. I've been to southern Spain to find out what's gone wrong and whether an end to their nightmare is in sight.
This is Andalusia in southern Spain, and it's not hard to see why the British retire here in their thousands.
In fact, the British love this region so much that many have invested their life savings to build their dream home right here in the sun. And who can blame them?
The evidence of the building boom is clear to see all around here. The hillsides and valleys are peppered with flats, villas and swimming pools. It's all pretty idyllic.
Except much of what you see here is an illusion. Many of those who built homes here in Andalusia have been told that they were put up illegally. These homes haven't even been lived in, so instead of having a stress-free retirement, people have had years and years of worry, and it's cost them hundreds of thousands of pounds.
Because if the authorities here decide your home is illegal, then you could pay the ultimate price. This British villa was bulldozed in Andalusia just a few months ago, and it's a future which could now face the Coopers from Suffolk.
Would have been sat on the veranda there, overlooking the pool, but also overlooking the countryside, which was completely open views for us.
Oh, you think we should have been out there now?
Like many people, Paul and Sue Cooper had always wanted to build a home abroad, somewhere warm to enjoy their retirement. But their plans to live in Spain have brought nothing but pain.
I wanted the life, to get the bikes out, go into the villages. We love the outdoors, so that's what we were going to do. But it's all been taken away.
Their villa is one of as many as 300,000 properties in Andalusia caught up in a legal wrangle. Declared illegal, they stand in limbo. No one has received a penny in compensation, including the Coopers, who have invested thousands in a home they now cannot even live in.
I seem to think it was around about 160,000 euros, the villa itself,
Yes.
at the time.
Yeah.
No, we had some extras built onto that, so I think the total cost would have been about 180,000 euros.
So as far as you were both concerned, you had all the relevant checks, everything in your minds was totally above board and legal.
Yes, because our solicitor is one that'll dot the I's and crosses the T's.
But also we had some of our own checks, if you like, inbuilt checks that we wanted to test.
Those checks included ensuring the developer had installed all the essential services for the estate before they handed over any money, and taking out a mortgage from a bank for part of the property.
And our belief there was that if a bank was prepared to give a mortgage on the property, they would do their own checks to make sure it was legal, and that would be extra comfort for us.
So when did you get the devastating news that everything had gone catastrophically wrong?
I think it was around about October 2006 that we had a phone call from our lawyer one day to say that there appears to be a problem with the development, and the Junta de Andalucía had put a temporary stop notice on the development.
So how did this all come about? Well, for years it seemed that people were able to build on these hillsides with little or no restriction. But then about 10 years ago, the regional authorities decided to get tough in a bid to stop the urbanisation of the countryside.
In 2003, a planning law was introduced by the regional council, or junta, which meant it was illegal to build in the countryside unless for agricultural use. But it's how that law is interpreted and enforced which seems to be causing a major headache.
The Coopers should have moved into their home here 7 years ago, but in all that time, their case has been tied up in a legal battle between the regional and the local council about whether their home is legal or not.
The Coopers' villa is on a small estate in the Almanzora Valley, around a 40-minute drive from the coast.
Do you know what? It's incredible to think that this actually should be a thriving, bustling community of expats from Britain all enjoying their retirement, when in fact it's abandoned. There's no one here, and if you just listen, it's incredibly quiet. It's so eerie. This is just a ghost town.
For the best part of a decade, a battle has been going on to try to get developments like this declared legal. Along with hundreds of others, the Coopers have joined a campaign group which has hired lawyers to fight their case in the courts. But the case has been delayed again and again and again.
Maura, whose fault is this?
Well, ultimately, we think the responsibility lies with the regional government, because this sort of lack of control in the planning systems happens in a vacuum. The problems occur in a vacuum when there is no control. And we think that the situation is not good for anybody. It's not good for the economy of Spain, it's not good for the image of Spain, it most certainly is not good for the unfortunate people who purchase these houses from developers. And it just needs to have some common sense and some rational decisions made to sort this problem out, rather than letting it drag on and on and on to the detriment of everybody concerned.
Why did you join the campaign, Brian?
Because I had a legal house. I didn't know it until 3 months after I purchased, moved in with my family. Found out from my neighbours there was a problem and I was on the list.
Are you facing the possibility that you could lose your home?
Yes, the ultimate is that I have all the paperwork, I have what they call an escritura, I have utility services from the main suppliers. I have the licence for everything of the house, and what they call a first habitation licence, which allows me to live in there with all those facilities. And yes, if I lose my case, it is potential that it could go to demolition, and I lose everything.
The Coopers could also face a demolition order, as could the entire estate, if the courts uphold the decision that the development is illegal. I went in search of the Coopers' villa, but sadly, it no longer looks much like the photo they showed me.
The couple haven't been out here for years. Understandably, they find it far too upsetting to see all of their hard-earned money go to waste. So I've said that I'd have a look at it. It's devastating to see what remains of their house. I mean, it's so close to being finished. I mean, look, the tiling is done. It looks like they were probably just a couple of weeks away from finishing it. You go inside, and the fireplace has been ripped out. It's been ransacked. Loads of stuff's gone. Wiring's been ripped out. Window fittings, other fixtures. It's just a shell now, and it's at the very top of the development. And it should have been where they were enjoying their retirement, looking out across this beautiful vista. But instead, it's just sitting here, with shrub and other things just growing all over it. It's heartbreaking, absolutely. I mean, it's not my place, and I feel so sorry for them. I find it distressing just seeing this.
What the people who've bought the villas here don't understand is why it's taken so long for this to be sorted out. The authorities here have agreed to speak to me about the Coopers' situation. A representative from the local councils told me the fault lies squarely with the junta for changing the law retrospectively and making homes built legally now illegal.
How do you go about changing things? Is there hope for these people who are in this awful situation?
As president of the local mayors, I've been asked to put together a legal proposition to the regional government, which would change state law and legalise around 96% of these properties. This must happen. There's no way we can defraud the British people who came here in good faith.
But the junta puts the blame squarely on the local councils, like the ones Senor Salas represents.
The town halls did it on the whole because they were looking to prosper and felt they had to grasp the moment of the boom, but they didn't respect the rules and regulations, which were in place as far as the state law is concerned.
The regional council told us it was also working on a plan which would see the majority of these properties legalised. So it seems both councils are singing from the same hymn sheet, with a resolution perhaps as early as next year.
That is a lot worse than when we saw it, yeah.
Meanwhile, back in Suffolk, the Coopers are still waiting, and their villa continues to deteriorate.
So how does it make you feel seeing what condition your villa is in?
I'm sad because it was such a lovely place, and I'm so angry at that through no fault of our own, we can't have it. We were 2 weeks away from more or less having it ourselves.
Well, let's be clear what's happened. The junta have put a stop on this development 6 or 7 years ago and not allowed the developer to, and the bank, to actually maintain the assets that they've built. So the junta is now responsible for the asset depreciating in the way that it has.
We've spoken to the authorities out there who both tell us independently that they will have most of these properties legalised in the near future.
Did you get it in writing?
No, not in writing. Well, obviously you've laughed at that, so you don't believe it.
No, I don't. No, even if you got it in writing, it wouldn't happen. They've been promising this now for how long, Paul?
Years.
So you don't think it's going to happen?
No, it's not going to
Don't believe
happen.
it at all. The Coopers have resigned themselves to the fact that they will never move into their Spanish villa and will live out their retirement in Suffolk. They don't expect to ever get their money back.